Okay, good morning. My name is Chris Caius. I'm chairman of the King County Administration Committee, and I'm calling this meeting to order on Wednesday, September 11th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Worm's here.
Davist, Ford, Gums, Young,
Here.
Juby,
here.
Caius.
Caius present.
You have an in-person quorum.
We have an in-person quorum, so we're good to go on the meeting. And do we have a unanimous consent to allow Gums to attend? She's not online yet.
Not on yet.
So does anybody object to when she does get online, that she participate as a voting member of this committee? Okay. So when she get here, we'll welcome her in. And then, bless you. Can I have a motion and second or ask for unanimous consent for the approval of the minutes of August 14th, 2024?
Berman asked for unanimous consent.
So Mr. Great.
Gums is here.
Okay, you've been approved. Welcome. Then I have a request
Thank
for
you.
unanimous
Sorry.
consent. I hope you feel better. We have a request from Mr. Berman for unanimous consent for the minutes of August 14th, 2024, and are no objections. I don't see or hear anything or any changes.
No.
Then we will approve those minutes. Is there any public comment? We don't have anybody signed up or anything. The financials are in the report, in the agenda, so if you have any questions, contact them or read that if you have any questions about that. Then I'll also ask for unanimous consent from the members of the committee to move the executive session, which is item number 16, up to number 6B or in that area.
I asked
So that
for
we can get
unanimous
that.
consent.
Mr. Berman. So if no problems with that, then we'll just move that right up there. Good morning, Mr. Davis. And then we'll request a motion to go into closed session to discuss purchase of property. Is that correct, Mr. Fonstock? Contracts?
Specifically purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body.
Make a motion to move to executive session to discuss purchase of property.
Second.
Okay, so it's moved by Berman, second by Juby. Yeah, the Gums is not here, right? Thank you. All right.
Berman,
Look like.
Berman, yes.
Davist,
Yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Aye.
Caius.
Caius, yes. So.
All right, everybody online joining us for the closed session, please accept the invites. If you are in the room joined by your computer, you must also join the closed session before we can begin. Keep in mind, we are live streaming, so until I tell you that everything has been transitioned, be aware that any conversations will be going out live to the public. So please accept those invites.
did that for Mark's benefit, right?
Wondering why that court.
I'm not.
It
Is
was out yesterday too.
is that OSHA approved? I mean, these cords are just crazy. We'll find some board member.
Wow, you're good, man. That was good. Great fix.
We have to put up some razor wire.
6 years of college.
Right.
Hey, Bill.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
All right, you are in open session.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that. Roll call, please.
Berman, Davis,
That was here.
Ford, Gums, Ms. Gums, Young, Juby,
here.
Caius.
Caius present.
Quorum?
We have a quorum. On to other business. Actually, I would ask for the consent of the committee to maybe move Mike's thing up ahead of time. Is it okay with the committee if we move up item number 12 so we can do this resolution approving 6 tandem axle? Is that okay with the committee? All right, then we'll get him back to working on the roads.
Open for that?
Do not, as long as I
want a
don't.
motion to amend the agenda to.
No,
move this
I'll just
forward?
take a unanimous consent to do that.
Okay.
If there's no objection. If there's an objection, we'll work on that, but. So then I will entertain a motion for a resolution approving purchase of 6 2025 tandem axle truck cab and chassis for the Kane County Division of Transportation, moved by
Davis moves.
Davis, second by
Juby,
Juby. Got to be fast. No, we'll get him next time. Okay. All right, and then you want to lead into this, Roger? Michael, you want to go ahead?
We got Michael from KDOT here. So.
Yeah, Michael Way from KDOT. Thank you for letting me move up. Actually have an afternoon briefing on the upcoming winter season, what we're gonna expect.
Okay.
So before you is gonna be 6 Kenworth plow trucks replacing trucks that are about 15 years old. 2 of them are delayed due to COVID, so this will bring us up to our normal rotation since COVID. We were able to put a $5,000 deposit on these trucks and lock them in for a build spot. So they're actually be built in December this year. They are in the FY25 budget. By doing this a little early, we're going to be saving about $90,000 with the increased fees for next year and about a $5,000 increase in the motor cost for next year. So they are in the FY25 budget and staff recommends approval for $873.92.
Okay,
That's
any
how we roll with
questions for Mike?
transportation, saving money, planning ahead.
Okay. Yeah, says the guy who has a house in Florida for winter. Okay. I am.
Could use some money and planning ahead.
Can we
Like I
have a
said,
roll call,
I
please?
believe in it too.
Berman, Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
aye.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Then you had a comment on the upcoming winter, or was that,
I will have a comment at Transportation Committee next week when I
Okay.
attend the training this afternoon.
all right, tune in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, now our long-awaited item number 7, Facilities Master Plan, I believe, right?
Yes. Morning, this is Roger Fonstock. We have an updated and what we hope to be the final adopted version that you could vote on today for the long-range facility master plan. So Heidi Files has worked with Jason Dwyer, and we've taken all of the different considerations and comments and things that were recommended from committee and incorporated them into the plan. We think we've captured the essence of those requests. It's very flexible. It gives us the ability to adapt. It does gives us some framework to work within and some direction, which is helpful when we're talking about the buildings and facilities that are needed by the county. So we're looking forward to the presentation here so that you can have consideration of adopting it. We have Jason Dwyer from White and Company is here with us to walk through the plan as it's been revised. But with that, I'll turn it over to Jason and Heidi. So,
Okay, well, welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
You'll have to pull that mic up, make sure you get close to your mouth.
Is that better? Got to
Even closer?
Yeah, you gotta like really lean right in.
It's a work in
Yeah.
progress.
Gotta get right on top of it, huh? Okay, it's tough being tall up here. Great to be back with you again. I know it's been a couple months. I think Heidi's been giving you a couple updates along the way, but this really represents some feedback and refinements based on the meeting we had back in May. So I think in May, excuse me, in May, we talked about a couple things. And so really what you're seeing here, and I think everybody get a copy of this in July, I think around the 24th. So hopefully you've had a chance to look through it. What I'm going to do is really just focus on kind of the executive summary part of it and highlight really some of the changes that were made based on feedback we received here. So this copy here just has a little, box that kind of highlights some of the changes. So I'll go through those quickly. There were a couple items that came up. One had to do with the parking structure at the Judicial Center. So that's something that was in the plan. We just hadn't highlighted it, I don't think, very clearly on the overall master site plan. And I'll get to that master site plan here in a moment. That was one of the key items. So we added the parking structure there. We removed the technical recommendation for the government center. I think we had a lot of discussion in the last couple of times here about really the idea that that's a longer range project for the government center. And the county has a variety of opportunities there. So you'll see that in the overall book there, I think it's on page 56, if I remember correctly. It gives you the range of options for either a new facility at the Judicial Center site north of 38. You still have Fabian Parkway campus as well as a potential for a government center. And then there were 3 scenarios for redevelopment on this campus. So rather than kind of tying into a specific technical recommendation, I think that was really from a lot of the feedback from committees, but we just pulled back a little bit from that and left it as a range of options. Kind of similar to that, we highlighted a little bit more clearly in the document some of the restrictions on the Judicial Center site through the Public Act. So it highlights in the book where the portion of the site on the northern part and then north of 38 has restrictions. We had a note in the document previously about working through legislative change to adjust for those restrictions. I don't know that that's necessary in the master plan document. That's certainly something the county could do at any time. So we pulled that out as a recommendation. So it just, you could kind of go either way on that, leave it with the restrictions that are there for judicial functions and so forth, or make some adjustments down the road. That's something that could be taken up at a later date. A couple other little things. CaneCom OEM, previously we had a square footage size of about 15,000. There was a little bit new information from the sheriff's office about some of the vehicle needs in that for OEM, trying to provide a little bit more space there. I think, even since you've built the multi-use building, it's a little tight on space, a little tight on parking as well. So we added a little bit more square footage to the CaneCom OEM component to accommodate vehicles and support functions there, and also made a recommendation for some additional parking in that area. It's just been tight. I think what we found for facilities in the sheriff's office, parking's just been really tight in that area. So we added a little more detail on parking in that space. So I'll kind of go through a couple of these here. You'll see with the Master Judicial Center campus site plan, previously we had buildings identified on the north side of 38, that technical recommendation for the government center up there. And then on the eastern parcel north of 38 was a location for a centralized health department. I know that was discussed extensively. And rather than, again, pushing for sort of a technical focus on that, we've distilled it back to options. So you'll see throughout, there's still the notion of health department services at the satellites. There's still, I think, an evolution to come in terms of service delivery that gives the county a lot of flexibility if you decide to take on more service and position the resources and components of the health department where they're best needed. Certainly there's right now space in Aurora. We've kind of addressed the issues with the building there, but you've got opportunities to add health department personnel at Aurora area, how that moves forward, Elgin. And then ultimately, if you decide to continue to consolidate some resources here in the Tri-Cities area, that opportunity is available as well.
The other thing I'll highlight on this is if you look, item 4, that's the multi-use building, kind of in the lower portion there. To the right of that, highlighted as Site 3 and Building 6. That's kind of a little larger footprint for CaneCom and OEM to reflect the additional square footage I spoke about a couple minutes ago, and just kind of sets up a precinct there, I'll say, for additional parking, CaneCom OEM services that are tied nicely to a lot of the support functions and vehicle functions that are already at the multi-use building. So kind of continuing to paint the picture of sort of adjacent uses there in that part of the site. To the east of the Juvenile Justice Center, there's available parcels. Those are just identified for future availability. We're proposing kind of a ring road or a side road along the eastern part of the property, which connects to Route 38 to kind of backfeed and allow access to those spaces. A lot of that is tied to some of the specific separation requirements for the Juvenile Justice Center. So there's an outdoor recreation space there and requirements for site separation, sight and sound separation for in custody juveniles in that location. No changes really to the Juvenile Justice Center. So go ahead.
Yes, sorry. I just wanted to mention that your slide is correct, but the PDF did not print correctly on this page. So if you're looking at it, it's missing the parcel restrictions A, B, and C on here. So it'll have to be reprinted. The PDF document looked correct, but it didn't print correctly. Yeah,
There's
that'd
a,
be fine.
I think if you go to page 37 of the document, it's a separate exhibit. Is that sort of highlights it in a little bit more detail on the parcel restrictions? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about page 11, the slide that looks just like this. For some reason, I'm just saying I printed it incorrectly and we'll get that fixed is all I'm saying. So when you're looking at it here, the PDF letters didn't print
If
correctly.
you're looking at it on the
Online,
agenda,
The hard copy.
online or in the agenda, it's correct.
So yeah, and you'll see near item 5 there, the expansion of the judicial center, just to the southwest of that is the parking. So still with a notion toward trying to take advantage of as much surface parking as possible to support the needs. That's certainly going to be the least costly way to address parking in that area. But we know that over time, with the proposed expansion in a later phase to the judicial center, added staff, added personnel going there, there's going to be a need for a parking structure, just going to be out of land area. So we're showing the parking structure that kind of was always part of the thought process. We're just making it more clear on this master site plan. And that really, I think you've got flexibility there. This may also give you an opportunity to do a little bit better secured parking for some of the staff and judges in the building, and then focus your public parking toward the front side by the front door of the building. So, and then I already talked a little bit about sort of the north side of 38, just simplifying that and identifying those as available parcels for future development. So these were the major changes in sort of based on the feedback we got at prior discussions. I have these in here, really the things I just talked about really carry through all components of the plan. No real changes in terms of what projects are identified and sort of in terms of your priority needs. We still know that, some of the more important items are things like storage, juvenile justice center expansion. There's been a lot of pressure as we've talked to the judiciary on the juvenile courts program there. It's really intense caseload on that, unfortunately, and there's no breathing room. So you've got 2 courts. So part of the longer range plan is to make sure you've got capabilities to expand that as well as staff support space. One other piece of that I think we've talked about before is this notion of trying to co-locate a couple other uses that have good synergy. So we've talked about a neutral exchange site as a potential. That's a newer operation, one that we've seen to be very successful in other counties in terms of supporting families, divorced families with kids, and providing a really good environment and a safe environment there for a neutral exchange for children that have shared custody. As well as bring in things like child advocacy and CASA, really kind of the whole suite of juvenile support programs all together in one location. So no real changes there, but those are some of the higher priority projects. Certainly options for you in terms of addressing the more pressing staff needs for the state's attorney, and even here at the government center. And because we know that anything related to a significant change to the government center is probably years out, just from a funding perspective, providing a couple different scenarios to give you outlets to support or address the current needs. Longer range in the midterm in kind of that 3 to 10 year is again, no major changes here. But other than the things we talked about already in terms of parking and so forth. But really your priority project here would be judicial center expansion, something more significant to address longer term projected needs out to the year 2050. KCAM and OEM fall into this category as well as making a little bit more robust your presence in Aurora and Elgin. So those haven't really changed. I know this is in parallel with this, you've had ongoing discussions about that as well. So I won't get into that in great detail, but just knowing that that's an important piece of the overall puzzle. And then finally, long-term, again, with the government center site, really pulling it back to giving you a range of options. So the great news is the county has a number of land assets and available assets that can be used to address the long-term needs. And, we've identified 3 different scenarios to make that happen for the government center. And really at this present site location, there's a couple different options even within this site location. So that's something that, can be discussed in greater detail as time goes on. And as you continue to work on planning for addressing that long-term need, you've got a lot of different ways to make that happen. And then kind of the last piece of it, Randall Road. So a lot of the functions that are at Randall, long-term, the ideal situation is to consolidate those, the circuit clerk, the branch court and ad, consolidate all those functions into one location with the expansion of the judicial center, which would be, the midterm priority project, which we just talked about. And that frees up a lot of space at Randall. So you've got some scenarios there of things you could do. You could fall back to some storage if you were leasing in the short term. You could potentially dispose of the asset. We're just highlighting that this is another available building asset that the county has that could fill a variety of different needs. And frankly, that's even something that, we've looked at is maybe in an interim or swing space as you're looking at projects. Sometimes you'll have to displace people to make a project happen. You could take advantage of existing building assets to make that work. So those were kind of the highlights, I guess, of the adjustments that were made, just based on feedback we received at prior committee meetings. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions? Mr.
Um,
Davis first, then.
Davis here, just a comment. Spoke to Heidi just a little bit on this already, and I won't be here to see all this happen. But just a reminder, I guess, kind of for Jason and everyone, that at Site 3 there, the multi-use building, I argued unsuccessfully that it should be larger to start with. And also asked that as we did it, we planned for it to be expandable, which I think we did. So just a reminder to everyone that in Site 3 there is building 4 and the new facility for KCAM sort of together in that space, to keep that in mind, that maybe expanding the multi-use building as we hopefully planned for becomes part of that. And it's possible that another modest parking structure becomes part of that solution, because impound lot is maybe a place that you could be on a lower level of even just a 2-tier parking, so that it's kind of protected and out of sight and so forth. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Juby?
So I just want to thank you because I'm quite critical of you. I really appreciate the changes that you made, reflecting concerns that not just everyone had, but that I had as well. And I really appreciate that you put in the parcel restrictions, because it's one step that we don't have to try to remember. It's right there in front of us. And to Mr. Davis' point, sometimes when we think of things, we think about what we can afford and not what we actually need. And I think that this allows us to grow, although I don't agree with our long-term plan, but that's okay. It's flexible enough that it allows options. So thank you. You guys did a great job, and I just felt I needed to say that.
Well, thank you. I just want to make a point of that. I think that, you know, we've tried hard and it's been a long process. Let's all agree on that. I think, for us, I mean, this isn't a plan for us. This is a plan for Kane County. And the only way we can make it a good plan is to get the feedback from the board members, elected officials, and others, users. So we tried to spend a lot of time to have a lot of meetings, and we needed the feedback like that to help make it a plan that everybody feels good about. So yeah, it's okay. I don't mind it when you challenge assumptions and push. I mean, that's how we get to a good plan. So thank you for being engaged in the process and helping to make it happen.
Oh, she'll be happy to do that. Yes, be engaged. And rightly so. Good. Thank you, Ms. Juby. Okay, any other questions for Jason? Anything? Now, okay, so now we have on here an adoption of the King County Long Range Facility. Are we voting to adopt it and then pass it on to another committee, or is this?
Under 9A, there's a resolution for that, I think.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Too many long meetings. Heidi?
We also had requested to be on the committee of the whole for this month to do a brief presentation. Jason agreed to come if we felt like we needed to do that for the other county board members.
I think that would be an
Unless
excellent,
there's been a change, but so.
like personally, I think it'd be a great idea. Let everybody know what we've seen, what our comments are, and be able to talk.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes, Ms.
just a
Juby.
suggestion. I suggest we see if it passes this committee before we determine that it goes forward to the committee of the whole.
All right.
Because if it doesn't pass this committee, then it will be a
Back to
very
square one.
different committee of the whole meeting.
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so then we can move on to, thank you, Jason. Is that it then?
Yes, and we're gonna forego the executive director's report and get right into the agenda.
Okay, we'll try and get some of this business out of the way here then. And that would be, then the next would be a resolution 9A. May I have a motion and a second for a resolution to present and potentially approve the adoption of the Kane County Long Range Facilities Master Plan. Moved by
Davis will
Davis.
gladly move that.
Should be seconds.
I'm going to give it to Juby. Yes.
I think I've
Davis
seen every
and Juby.
version of this for many, many years.
Are there any questions? I think we covered pretty much all of that, but anybody online? We're good? Roll call.
Berman. Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
No.
Juby,
Should be I.
Caius.
Guys, yes.
Passes with one no.
Okay.
Great.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Then may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing additional funds for the Building Management Department using the Omnia Joint Purchasing Agreement with Amazon Services LLC Online Marketplace, moved by Berman, second by
Should be.
Luby.
Ready?
Mr. Fonstock.
So, good morning again. This is a resolution expanding the amount for the purchase authorization with Amazon. And this is just simply to increase our spend authorization. It's going from 50,000 to 25,000. We are approaching our $50,000 limit that was authorized in the previous resolution. So we're asking for the $25,000 increase for the remainder of the fiscal year. So it'd bring us up to $75,000. It's budgeted expense. We do purchase a lot of parts, miscellaneous parts and supplies from Amazon, and it's been a good provider for us. So we're recommending approval.
Okay. Any questions, Juby?
I don't have a question about the dollar amount being increased. What I would like is for when we get our reports and it says more detail about the purchase, it says Amazon. Is there any way we can actually have what the Amazon purchase is for? When we get our reports, it just says
Yeah.
Amazon, and then it's like more detail, Amazon, which is not a whole lot more detail.
We could work on that.
Yeah, could we?
I mean, there's a report from Amazon that comes out of their business services that gives you maybe like a item description. We might be able to get that, but it's going to be per office or department. It'll be, or per customer actually. So we have a couple of different people that do buying in different divisions of IT and building management. So you might get a couple of those, but
What if we suggest that we would like those?
you want
Then
all
would we
of them?
get them?
No, I think we could try to provide them. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what format they come in, but we have no problem with providing them.
It just makes it easier for us to be able to
Sure,
keep track of
sure.
things.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Davis,
That was yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Should I?
Caius.
Guys, yes. Then for item C, may I have a motion to present, or I will accept the resolution authorizing a contract for, boy, I just zeroed out on that one, authorizing a contract for Kane County's Adult Justice Center's domestic hot water project with One Source Mechanical Incorporated, bid number 24052-TS, moved by Berman, second by
Juby?
Zuby.
Okay.
Mr. Fonstock?
So this is a ARPA budgeted project. And this was put out to bid and we did select One Source Mechanical. So it's a budgeted request. It is for $1,890,082. This is for the entire adult justice correctional facility for their domestic hot water. It is replacing and putting into good service all of the domestic hot water systems. And we're recommending approval.
Any questions for Mr. Fonstock? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Davis,
That was yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Should
Caius.
Guys, yes. Okay, back into the right thing. Item D, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract for building management flooring services with Manzarini Incorporated, bid number 24-042-TK, moved by
Davis moves.
Davis, second by
Juby?
Juby. Mr. Fonstock?
So this is a bid that was done for the flooring and carpeting. We are changing to a new flooring and carpeting company, Mazzarini. This is a budgeted expense in capital. We go through and replace somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 square feet of carpeting and our 1,000,000 square feet of buildings a year. That's what our schedule has been recently. It is a budgeted expense. It's $400,000 with Mazzarini and we're recommending approval. It's a 3-year contract as well. And I believe there's two mutually agreed upon renewals, 1 year each.
An example would be like this.
And the carpet in the back of the room must be.
Yeah, they'll finish that if you guys approve this. No, just kidding.
They did fix the tripping part that was. back
Yeah, that's
here.
a
Thank
different,
you.
that's the actual existing contractor.
Yeah, I know.
They're the ones that'll be departing after this is approved. So
Dale and I thank
Out of
you
order.
for fixing.
Ms.
Yes,
Juby?
sir.
So I just have a question. I want to make sure I read it correctly.
yes,
They will move the furniture and put it down and then bring it back. That's not our responsibility. Did I read that correctly? That they will handle?
they generally do that unless we have major heavy equipment that needs to be disconnected. So they'll move general office furniture around to carpet. If you have personal effects, they like I've seen them, they bring like Rubbermaid like totes and they actually put your personal effects in those so that you can get those out. But
But
yeah,
we don't have to clear a space before they come in.
generally, as
Okay.
long as it's not electronics and
Okay, thank you.
technology, yeah.
Planning on moving? The item number E, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve? Oh, no, what are we in? We need to vote.
Vote.
Roll call vote, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Should
Caius.
Caius, yes. Okay, now, moving on to item E. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing additional funds for engineering and design for HVAC systems with Kluber and the Adult Justice Center, RFQ number 23-058. Moved by
Davis moves.
Davis, second by. Anybody
Juby.
home? Juby? And Mr. Fonstalk?
Yeah, so during the course of the last 6 months, we've been working with Kluber on the engineering design and the bid packages for the HVAC improvements at the Adult Justice Center. We are putting that information out and soliciting the bids for this construction project. This would provide architect engineering support, construction management oversight for the actual build of all the heating and air conditioning components in the buildings. We are recommending the approval of this to add the additional $246,280 in architectural and engineering services for this construction management. This will go on through next year. It might even probably go into 2026, depending on how quick we can get the equipment and how it gets staged. But for right now, we're looking for an authorization to increase the expenditures with Kluber for the construction management, architect and engineering services, $246,280. And this is a ARPA project and ARPA expenditure.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, item number F, may I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve resolution authorizing a contract with Valdez Architecture and Engineering for engineering and design for HVAC systems at Kane County facilities, RFQ number 23-058, moved by
Juby,
Juby, second by
Berman,
Okay.
Looks like
Could
this
be in
is the
Berman.
companion to the one right before.
So
Fonstalk.
yes, this is also related to the ARPA projects. We did a solicitation for architect and engineering services. This is specifically related to commissioning services for the HVAC systems. It was strongly recommended that we solicit or get a third-party commissioning service engineering firm for these projects. So we are requesting to use Valdez, who was actually one of our other architect and engineering services vendors for heating and air conditioning. They were very highly recommended for this. And the commissioning services for I think we're somewhere near $15 million in air conditioning systems that they'll be commissioning. The estimated fees were $330,035. And it's a budgeted ARPA expense, and we are seeking approval.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Fosdock? Juby?
so I'm probably going to use the wrong term,
Sure.
but I think you'll get what I'm asking. Are they acting like a general contractor then? So we're giving them authorization to then hire other people to finish the job? I'm
No.
not really sure then what
Heidi
we're
can take
hiring them
this.
for.
Sure, no problem. I wasn't aware of what this meant either, because I'm a little bit new to HVAC, but what they do is they come in during pre-construction activities, they review the design plans again, make sure that it's going to work for the space. They oversee some of the construction as well. Then they get it started. They make sure we have all the warranty documentation. They make sure it works with the BAS system. It's basically so that the contractors and the engineer who designed it can't just walk away and say, we're done. So
They
we need to make
validate
sure it-
everything,
Yeah. It's like a
essentially.
guarantee and apparently in the HVAC world, this is done for every large project.
So this is a good ROI.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know anything about it. So, okay,
Okay,
thank you.
certainly, our staff is available for questions as well. Mr. Davis?
This is relatively new, but the bane of many a large building for decades was that this wasn't done right. And millions would then be spent going back in and refitting and recalculating. It gave rise to services like this, and the return is excellent. It's better to get it right the first time than have to go back and fix it. So
Absolutely. Okay, roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Davis,
that was yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Item G, may I have a motion and a second to present, potentially approve resolution authorizing an agreement with White and Company for the renovation of the Public Defender's office project, moved by
Davis moves.
Davis, second by
Berman,
Berman.
Okay.
Mr. Fonstalk?
So this has been a long awaited project. This has been one that we actually started discussion in 23 and we're done with the actual solicitation for bids. This was done with White and Company. They will be acting as the construction manager at risk for this. This is a budgeted capital project that's going to renovate the public defender's office. When we put this project together, there was some cut sheets of what they were looking to do that were presented and approved to create the budget for this. We did get the bids back. The construction price is from our construction manager at risk, White and Company, is not to exceed $700,000. Again, it's a budgeted capital expense. This is going to give the public defender's office some much needed space that they need for their offices. It's reorganizing, reconfiguring some vacant areas that they have. It also is going to remodel some of the areas for better use. It's $700,000 and we're recommending approval.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Fonstalk?
I'm
Ms.
so
Juby?
sorry.
Right.
So the $40,000 that's in contingency, if we don't use it, it says that it reverts to the owner as credit.
Yes,
So does that
it's
mean
ours.
toward another project with them? So
No,
we
it'll-
don't get the money back to be put in our general fund for something else?
It'll sit in our,
On page 300.
unless we get a pay application to pay an invoice for it, it will remain with the county.
Okay, then why does it say that?
We still good for a
I'm
quorum?
not sure of the wording.
Jason can answer.
Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer that. The contingency is there in case there's unforeseen conditions, but if the money's not spent, it just goes right back to the county. I should have said credited back to the county. It's your money. It's not a credit with us in any way, shape or form. The money goes back to the county for your use and however you choose.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was voting on the right thing then.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So I'm gonna-
roll call, please.
Berman, Davis, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
GBI.
Pius.
Yes. Okay. Item H, it's a POWMIA Recognition Day ceremony, and this is an approval for the use of the memorial, I believe, right out front here. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a memorial in the front.
As the
of
administration
Government Center.
committee, they submit them, and then if we approve them at the
Yep.
committee, it's
We
approved.
just need
It
a
doesn't go
verbal
past the-
consensus that it's
Oh,
okay.
consensus. So do I have a consensus to use the property on the Friday, the September 20?
Yes.
No objection. Okay.
No
Thank
objection.
you.
Great. Make it so. Thank you, Mr. Fonstalk.
Yep.
Is that the
it.
completion of your items? Then we're on to information technology. Mr. Charles Lasky, may I have a motion and a second for a resolution to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing purchase of technical solutions to optimize integrated communications, equipment, products, or services from Zetron Incorporated for the Information Technologies Department. Moved by
Berman,
Berman, second by
GB.
Juby. And I'm sure you made this whole thing up, right? That makes no sense to me. No, go right ahead, Charles.
This is Charles
Mr.
Lass
Lasky.
from the IT department. So this resolution authorizes us to use a purchasing agreement to purchase equipment for Zetron. This is for an ARPA-approved project to do upgrades to the Kingcom emergency microwave network. So this will allow us to purchase some equipment needed for that. We're also working on another agreement that allow us to purchase the microwave equipment. But this is budgeted through ARPA. It has been reviewed both by IT and Kingcom, and we'd recommend approval.
All right. Any questions for Charles? Ms. Juby?
It's not really a question. It's a suggestion. When you have a summary, could you put in the summary what it's for? Because nowhere does it say it's for Kingcom. And I think it would make it easier for us as we're reading our board packet prior to our meeting to know what we're reading.
Certainly.
Thanks.
Good point. Okay, any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Okay, item number B, may I have a motion a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract with Tech Applications and Consulting LLC for the 3DEP LIDR LiDAR project, bid number 24-053-KK, moved by
Berman.
Berman, second by
Young.
Young.
This is Charles Lask from IT department. So this was a bid that went out, that was put out by our JS department. And they have selected this as the most responsible bidder. They would do a flight and do LiDAR over the county, would do a 1 mile buffer around the county, which was requested by our environmental department because they use some of this data when they're looking at stormwater and watershed issues. It's also used by other offices and departments within Kane County. So this is budgeted in 2025. It comes out of special revenue. So if the budget's not approved within in the budget request, we also have money in the reserve that could be used under that special revenue fund. It doesn't use general funds for this, so we would recommend approval.
Okay, any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Passes.
Okay, on to Mill Creek.
Yeah.
May I have motion and a second to present potentially approve a resolution authorizing additional funds from the fiscal year 2024 Mill Creek SSA budget for Kane County Mill Creek SSA engineering firm services with Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick Incorporated, HLR. And that is RFP number 23-016, moved by
Young.
Young, second by
Berman.
Berman.
This is Roger
Fonstock.
Fonstock again, for Mill Creek SSA. So what we are requesting is authorization to spend up to $250,000 for architect engineering services. HLR, Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick, they do the engineering and services to manage the pavement program, the sidewalk replacement and ADA crossings, the natural areas, paths, and they also assist with the development of the plans related to landscape and snow removal. So they're essentially like the village engineer for Mill Creek. So we're asking for the $250,000 in the not to exceed for their engineering services. Again, this is coming from Mill Creek SSA Special Service Area funds. This is not a part of the general fund or other county funds, and we're recommending approval.
Okay, questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Berman, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Motion passes. Item B, may I have motion and a second to present and potentially approve a resolution authorizing a contract extension for the Mill Creek SSA Holiday Lights and Decor Services with It's a Wonderful Light, bid number 22-029, moved by
Juby.
Juby, second by
Young.
Gums,
Young.
Okay. This is Roger again. This is an extension of an agreement for holiday lighting and decorations with It's a Wonderful Life. Mill Creek SSA, they do this seasonal every year. It's a 1-year extension, $10,859.51, which is, I think, a couple $1,000s less than last year. They removed a few things. But it's a budgeted expense from the SSA. Again, it's not coming from the general fund or county funds. This is from the levy on the homeowners in Mill Creek, and we're recommending approval.
Okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Berman, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Young,
Yes.
Juby,
Juby, I.
Caius.
Caius, yes. Okay, on your agenda, we've already taken care of item 12. And is there any new business from any of the members of the committee or old business? May I have a request for unanimous consent to place the reports on file?
I'll make a request for unanimous consent to place the reports on file.
Mr. Young requests unanimous consent. Is there any objection? Hearing none, place the reports on file. We already dealt with executive session early on. And I think that leads us
Um,
to the end then. May I have a motion second to adjourn? Moved by Berman,
Second.
second by Young.